cultural roots run deep for the people of Africa. And the pride of the nations is echoed through its sporting culture.
Oh! That was brutal.
In recent years, the rise of African fighters in the UFC has been clear and present.
I come from humble beginnings, all the way from Auchi, Nigeria, and here I am.
On August 17th, history will be made when two African-born fighters will compete for a UFC title for the first time. In a grudge match, years in the making.
I've got a new enemy.
Considered one of the greatest middleweights of all time, Nigerian-born Kiwi Israel Adesanya once reigned supreme in the 185-pound division.
He flatlines the best fighters in the world.
Israel Adesanya is the undisputed king of the middleweights.
In the story of life, in this game we play, when it's your time, it's your time. You maximize it.
He is the elite of the elite, one of the greatest mixed martial arts fighters of all time.
Israel Adesanya is an incredible fighter, one of the best to ever do it, but his fire is dimming, if not out.
I've got a new enemy.
South Africa's Dracus du Plessis announced his intentions on arrival in the UFC.
Oh, he goes down. Perez in the six.
Want to be the first real African champ trained, born, bred in Africa.
Setting him and Adesanya on a collision course.
Yeah, my African brother.
I'm African, but I ain't no brother of yours, son.
I will show you where you're from.
The stakes were raised when du Plessis broke through to become the Rainbow Nation's first UFC champion.
This is history. Thank you, South Africa. South Africa is the greatest country in the world. Let's go!
There are people lining up to get a shot at the new champ.
Israel Adesanya, get your ass back in the UFC so we can settle the score.
With du Plessis at the helm of the middleweight division, the stage is set for the fierce rivals to finally settle the score.
Beating Dracus is more important to me than getting the belt back. This fight's about history.
The fear of losing is what motivates me. I was put on this earth not to be average, and I refuse to be.
In this episode, we chronicle the journeys of two middleweight greats whose paths were destined to meet inside the UFC octagon.
Please help us to always positively influence one another so that we can make a difference in the world.
Before the war of words turns to action, this is UFC 305. Countdown.
I've got a new enemy.
August 17th marks the UFC's return to Perth, where for the first time in the promotion's history, two African fighters will battle for UFC gold.
Yeah, that's it. Go.
When South Africa's Dracus du Plessis
Just make sure that's on in front of your face.
looks to defend his title against the division's former king, Israel Adesanya. While Adesanya's career was forged in New Zealand, the former champion maintains a connection with his homeland.
Born in Lagos, Nigeria, grew up there, beautiful childhood in the heart of Lagos. Then lived in Ghana briefly before I moved to New Zealand. And living here, I had to learn how to adjust to culture shock. Parents still spoke Yoruba to me. I still ate Nigerian food. There was still Nigerian discipline in our household. Might have lived in a different country, but my culture never left me. Culture shock, but also I adapted really well, regardless what was thrown at me. I used to get picked on a lot, so I was like, you know what? I'm sick of these with me. I'm gonna get my get back. Even if there were bigger kids, I'd make sure you're leaving with something. So eventually I was just hard to deal with. And that was my decision to start fighting. And then eventually I realized I might be the greatest at this, so I just decided to chase it.
Adesanya made a name for himself in kickboxing as a striking phenom. After amassing over 70 pro wins in the ring, transitioned his flamboyant style seamlessly into MMA and quickly found himself arriving on the sport's biggest stage.
As a combat sports athlete, getting a title is the goal for most. And I always said I'm the champ before I even go to the belt. Once I go into the UFC, I was like, I feel like I'm the guy.
Israel Adesanya, he arrives at the UFC debut here tonight.
He's used to finishing guys, and he's used to finishing them early.
The last style bender has arrived.
Middleweights, I'm the new dog in the yard. This is a fantastic young fighter with confidence to match. My first main event, it's only my third fight. I'm just getting warmed up.
He is one of the highest level kickboxers you're ever gonna see.
Oh, big left and a right. Now the uppercut and the knee. Brunson is down.
Oh, he tags him again.
Another knockdown.
Wow.
Israel Adesanya.
I don't throw and hope. I aim and fire. Down the barrel.
Oh my goodness.
Knockdown for Adesanya now.
I feel like I'm the king, and I actualized it, made it happen.
Whitaker nearly out on his feet. Adesanya trying to close it out.
It's over.
Israel
It's over.
Adesanya is the undisputed king of the middleweights.
What a performance by the last style bender. It's my octagon.
Less than 2 years into his UFC career, Israel Adesanya is what he knew and thought he was, the best middleweight on planet Earth.
Who I am as a person, my culture has never shifted.
I got a tattoo of Nigeria with a lion inside of my chest.
Knockdown for Adesanya.
fighter!
That is it. Still undisputed.
And that's heart of a lion. Ayabiaku.
Eminele, Ewayami, Kilo Shale, nothing carry last.
He makes it look easy no matter what he is doing.
He's the most sophisticated striker in the sport.
Israel Adesanya, once again, the undisputed king of the middleweights.
I know where I'm from. That will never ever be taken away from me. So I always make sure my culture stays with me, and no matter where I'm at, I know who I am.
It has been an incredible rise to UFC superstardom for Israel Adesanya.
My house, let's go.
And when it was my time to shine, I did.
Counter right from Adesanya. Putting it down and out. Israel Adesanya. Mission accomplished for the last style bender. He begins his second title reign, and the road to UFC middleweight golden glory once again goes through Auckland, New Zealand.
Legacy is very important to me. Not just for me, but for my family. I feel like that name, Adesanya, now will reign supreme. Back in Nigeria, the prefix Ade is for anyone with royal blood, royalty. But now that name worldwide, Adesanya, is synonymous with me and my family. And in history, forever, it'll echo through time.
The win over Alex Pereira earned Adesanya his second middleweight title and confirmed him as one of the greatest middleweights of all time.
As two-time UFC middleweight champ, bitch.
As his second reign commenced, a new challenger from the African continent was emerging.
Anybody that grew up in South Africa will tell you how amazing it is. I grew up in a household where hard work was rewarded firstly, nothing else would be accepted. Anything you did, you do with pride. Everything you do, you try to be the best at it, and that is a South African mindset. My dad, my two older brothers, and my mom, we were always pushed to try and be the best that we can be. Because at the end of the day, what you do says a lot about you. I started with judo with my brothers. They were both multiple-time national champions. And then I started wrestling. I always loved martial arts in general and the sport of mixed martial arts. At the age of 14, I started training K1, and at 15, I had my first K1 amateur fight. And I loved it. I loved every second of it. And after that first fight, I knew that I wanted to do this for the rest of my life.
Fighting out of Silverton, Pretoria, Dricus Duplessis.
Du Plessis' MMA pursuit saw him quickly become a household name on the regional scene.
Naturally, he is so gifted, raw, strong, and just so hungry.
Here it is! Submission! Dricus Du Plessis, the 19-year-old, is setting the middleweight division alight.
The UFC played such a massive role in my career and my rise to the top.
Doing the impossible, he's 23 years old, 2-division champion.
Victoria! The year's in town, baby!
The platform and being a double division champion is what got me to the UFC.
Dricus still knocks Du Plessis, a former two-weight champ in South Africa who's a legit fight finisher and a welcomed addition to the middleweight roster.
A lot of people are excited to see how he contends now he's in the UFC.
Oh! That's it! What a debut!
Being in the UFC was the downfall of many, many fighters, I believe. So many fighters want to make it to the UFC, and once they do...
Oh! Huge right hand!
They almost lose that passion because they've made it. That's never been mine.
South Africa is officially on the map now!
Being a champion, I have to do it. I have to be a champion to be able to be considered as one of the greatest.
Every single strike that he's thrown tonight was 100% power.
Just like that, Dricus Du Plessis, 4-0 in the UFC and coming to the top 10 next week.
That's South Africa for you, baby.
And these Du Plessis fights always got a little crazy in them.
Oh!
So that has been my goal from the first day in the UFC, is to be champion and ultimately be the greatest fighter of all time.
That's it. That's it.
This is incredible for me, and it's so huge for my country and for me. I'm here in the top 5 and I'm getting a title shot too.
Dricus Du Plessis, ladies and gentlemen.
In April of 2023, Israel Adesanya knocked out Alex Pereira to reclaim the middleweight title.
Stylebender regains the middleweight championship of the world and reestablishes himself as one of the greatest mixed martial arts fighters of all time.
South African Dricus Du Plessis had emerged as a potential challenger to Adesanya's reign.
Dricus Du Plessis, a perfect 5-0 start to his UFC career.
An impressive win streak upon arrival in the UFC. But Du Plessis in the title picture. But the champion had already placed the South African in his crosshairs long before.
Dricus first come on my radar when he spoke ill of the Three Kings.
Want to be the first real African champ, trained, born, bred in Africa.
I said I was the first fighter out of Africa who's going to bring the belt back home to where I live.
He doesn't respect African kings, African champions, because he sees himself different from us.
I mean, did those belts ever go to Africa? I'm going to take a belt to Africa. I'm the African fighter in the UFC. I breathe the African air. I wake up in Africa every day. Africa born, we're African raised, still reside in Africa. That's an African champion, and that's who I'll be.
How the f are you gonna question our Africanness? Like, what the f are you? He could have been like, there's been lately a great reign of African champions, and that's been awesome. I look forward to taking my place as an African champion as well.
This whole story was never about him for me. It was about my own goal. It's about my accomplishment. It was never to discredit his. This thing blew up, and if they're gonna be pissed off about that, so be it, I don't care.
I want to whoop his ass so bad, because you gotta choose your words wisely when you speak on people that have come before you, people that paved the way for you. You want to try and be a big boy. You want to bamba. You want to G with the big boys. I will gladly drag his carcass across South Africa.
He got triggered, I don't really care. I don't care if he's angry about it. We'll settle it.
The vitriolic feud between Adesanya and Du Plessis had the MMA world yearning for a future matchup. In order to confirm his status as the top contender, the South African first had to clear his most formidable challenge to date.
If I see myself as the best in the world, I need to fight the best in the world.
While the former world champ Robert Whittaker is hell-bent on regaining his crown, and as such, he has asked to face the streaking South African Dricus du Plessis.
I knew the Whittaker fight was going to be the fight where I proved to the whole world that there's a new champ on the way.
And prevailing thought is the winner of this fight could challenge Israel Adesanya.
UFC 290 in Las Vegas, I was there cage side. I wanted to be there because this guy's already been talking some, so I want to give him a lick.
All right, guys, let's do it.
I expected him to win. I was one of the only ones.
Here's the middleweight contender out of South Africa, Dricus du Plessis, in a fight with massive championship implications. UFC middleweight champ Israel Adesanya is likely the most interested observer watching Octagon side tonight.
All credit to my coach for that fight. There's very, very few holes in the game of Robert Whittaker. Fighting southpaws, he beat all of them, but he got caught a few times coming in. And we went through the videos and it showed me every time he saw it.
Good combination by du Plessis.
And my coach came to me and says, okay, we're going to fight southpaw.
Ooh.
And he was right.
Special, Dricus! Special! Beautiful jab by du Plessis from the southpaw.
The game plan worked out perfect.
Oh, he stunned him. He stunned him bad.
He's hurt bad.
Whittaker's in a world of trouble.
Once I caught him with that jab and he went down, it almost felt like the whole world disappeared.
Oh!
It felt like an out-of-body experience for me. And I saw him going down. I saw his eyes roll back of his head. I just knew that this is it.
Whittaker covers up! Do you believe it? Dricus du Plessis calls his shot and stops Robert Whittaker inside 10 minutes!
What a performance by Dricus du Plessis. Look at Izzy.
The champ is just staring him down. And he's got a style that might just be unorthodox enough to give the middleweight champion a lot of issues.
As soon as he rocked Rob, I heard, oh, and you see me just shoot up like, yes. I was excited, and when it happened, I was like, yep, we're here.
I told you I manifested this. I manifested this.
I wanted to make a point.
You want to go in? You have my word. Come on, man. Come on, man. I'll do it.
Because I'm like, oh, yeah? You really want to test my gangster? So I was like, I bet. Let me show you who you are.
This is my African brother right here. Let's go. What's up, bitch? Let's go. Yeah.
He was so angry, he was almost throwing a tantrum.
Yeah, my African brother. Yeah, my African brother.
He was just flabbergasted. He didn't know what to make of me, and especially when I'm in front of you, it's a lot different.
Hey, stare off. Just saying. Look at me. Come here. Just feel me.
Now he's standing in front of me, seeing how big I am, and me just beating Robert Whittaker in the way I did it faster than he did. You know, I felt unstoppable. I felt like king of the world.
I'm African, but I ain't no brother of yours, son. Let's go. You my for real.
I was actually pretty chuffed with myself when I said that. Came out great.
I ain't no brother of yours, son. But yeah, if you're not my brother, then you ain't African.
I don't need a DNA test to know where I'm from. Do a DNA test, it'll tell you where you're from. I will show you where you're from.
He made himself look like a complete fool in that. I mean, I won that exchange by far. That was another win for me in one night.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got a world title fight.
I got what I needed to get from that interaction. I was very fired up. That, boom, saw the fight right there.
I've never been more motivated in my life to kill a man. And watch this, just stay tuned. Stay tuned.
He started this. He started this completely on his own. But I'll end it. I'll make sure I end it.
Dricus du Plessis is going to be on the poster, and Israel Adesanya was hopeful for this result here tonight.
This dude is not afraid of Adesanya. I mean, this is the battle for Africa. We got these dudes out here going crazy. I love it.
The highly anticipated matchup between Adesanya and du Plessis was slated to take place at UFC 293 in Sydney, Australia. The emergence of an injury to the challenger, though, would derail all plans.
All right, Dricus, what are we working on today?
Just the foot.
Foot, okay.
So the nerve shock's really been working very well.
Has it? Yeah.
And I had a small tear in the muscle.
Okay, in your plantar fascia?
Yeah.
Okay.
It looks like Dricus is not going to fight Israel Adesanya on UFC 293 Duplessis versus Adesanya. Duplessis isn't showing up. What a missed opportunity. I just wanted to predict that.
To get a title shot doesn't mean anything. It's about winning the belt and being able to be 100% prepared when you fight for that belt. We are warriors, but you also have to be smart in this game. What would have, go out there not being able to fight at my full potential because I'm injured? I was never going to do that.
Adesanya is saying that Dricus has to man up. Everybody fights with injuries. Why is he pulling out of a fight that's a huge opportunity for himself?
Your foot sore. My knee was jacked from my last fight. Guess what I did? I showed up because that's what a champion does.
I just wanted to fight in Sydney. I haven't fought in this side of the world in a long time. And I was adamant about it. The UFC tried to delay it, and I was like, no, I have to fight in Sydney.
I'm fighting in Sydney. I don't give a Dickless, Duplessis, off. You're out. Strickland, you're in.
Dateline Sydney. It has been 6 long years since the Octagon has touched down in New South Wales' capital city. Today, though, the wait ends for some of the most impassioned fans in all of mixed martial arts. And in a matter of hours, one of the UFC's all-time great champions looks to further strengthen his legacy at the expense of an upset-minded American challenger.
At a certain stage when I was having my reign, got to a point where I was kind of like, is there no one else? But then there was someone else.
Walk.
Israel Adesanya enters the Octagon as a 2-time UFC middleweight champion.
Let's see if he has another one of those magical performances in his pocket as he tries to defend his championship to start a second run. This is where Sean's gonna try to be right in the grill of Adesanya all night long.
Facing a guy like that can be exhausting.
Yeah, you're on edge the whole time.
When I got in there, it felt like a bad dream. The moment he dropped me, he rocked me. I used a wide strike, and he used a straight punch and got to the target first, and boom, I dropped. And he's wailing on me, punching, and I finally like, hold up, I gotta fight, and I get back.
Strickland applying a world of pressure!
And I wasn't able to just get back on my flow.
A major moment early for the underdog!
I'll say it just wasn't my night. And I don't say that as a cop-out. You have to understand, in the story of life, in this game we play, when it's your time, you maximize it.
It's just crazy. This was not how I expected this fight to play out. And now Strickland's talking to him.
In all likelihood, Sean Strickland has produced one of the biggest upsets in UFC championship history.
And it wasn't my time. It was Sean's time. I don't think I took Sean lightly or anything, but we always do better to prepare ourselves. There was stones I left unturned. I hate losing, don't get me wrong. I hate losing. I just felt like I let my people down. I wanted to show them something special. I felt like I let them down. That was the hardest thing for me.
Mommy.
Yeah?
Hey, what's up? How are you?
You are city champ.
I know.
If you put your gloves down today, you're set for life. So don't let anything bother you, okay?
But again, these are things in hindsight, because you have to do an analysis and be honest with yourself on things you need to change.
We'll get him again.
Yeah.
Pops. We'll get him again. It's a good story for him. I'm proud of him, bro. I'm gonna get him. We'll get him back, okay? I promise. Man.
UFC 293 capped off a heavy schedule for the former champion. The loss sparked the decision for some much-needed time away from competition that allowed him to recalibrate his body and mind.
1 minute reset, 10, 40, 20. Lack of awareness of time.
Yes, it was a conscious decision for me to take that time off.
Drop it out, get real calm. Stagger it.
Because that year I had 3 or 4 fights as a champion, not even as a challenger. I had somebody from the UFC telling me just chill. But I was so stubborn and adamant, like, no, I want to fight in Sydney.
Oh! Adesanya in trouble early! some fans have wondered aloud if eventually the breakneck schedule of Adesanya would catch up with him.
And hindsight, maybe I should have just chilled. But sometimes when life forces you to stop and slow down, you listen. And again, after that fight, I stopped, slowed down, I listened to my body. And my body is not the same as it was when I was younger. So it took time to heal my body, look after my health, and just really find myself again. I've handled this really well. The cards I've been dealt, the spotlight I was put in, the magnifying glass I've been put under, I've dealt really well with it. Despite the ups and downs, you learn. So there's no book about how to be a UFC superstar. You have to learn on the job. People like to throw that out there after anything. Like, you have one loss. Nah, I should retire. That's it. It's done. He's over the hill. That's it. Even after Madison Square Garden, he's lost it. He'll never be Alex. Retire.
Counter right from Adesanya. Pineda got it out. One of the greatest mixed martial arts fighters of all time.
That's what they say. But you don't listen to what they say, because they don't do what I do. They haven't seen what I've seen.
He got him bad.
I know me. Hell no. The curtains haven't closed. Not just yet.
Middleweight great Israel Adesanya's shocking loss at UFC 293 saw a new king sit on the 185-pound throne.
Sean Strickland is heading back to the United States of America as the undisputed middleweight champion of the world.
After healing from a foot injury, top contender Dricus du Plessis was positioned for his first shot at UFC Gold.
Well, you think Dricus du Plessis looks nervous for his first shot at the UFC World title? I would suggest not. What a moment for the entire nation of South Africa.
Dricus du Plessis is the man that represents an entire nation. This belt, if he wins it, is for all of South Africa.
The goal will always stay the same, to be the greatest MMA fighter the world's ever seen. And being UFC champion is a part of that.
Dricus du Plessis trying to change his life and change the world by winning the UFC championship tonight. Sean Strickland, he is a big game player on the biggest of stages. First title defense beckons tonight.
It's one of the most contested fights for a championship where you just don't know how good these guys really are yet.
Sean Strickland is the hunted and trying to successfully defend and produce his 16th win.
We came out first round. I knew they were going to go, Dricus doesn't have a gas tank. Dricus can't go 5 rounds. The first 2 rounds, he's going to come out hard, and then we take the fight.
Nice kick to the body there by the champ.
He started landing the jab, but I thought, I'm just going to walk through this. It's fine.
Strickland pumping out that jab early.
That jab is just eating him up, man.
And then my eyes started swelling up. I didn't take that in consideration.
Big welt underneath the right eye of du Plessis.
And I started seeing my eye. In the first round, I thought, okay, this is not good.
Big right late in the round from Strickland.
Hij vat te veel op ons. Het wordt rond, dus dat wil weer zijn. Maar vloei. Vloei net. Kijk, alles ik wil is vloei.
In the second round, I was going forward the whole time.
That was nice.
Spinning back fist lands.
You gotta hit Strickland with something different.
Body shots are both there.
It's getting closer and closer.
That was a much better round by du Plessis in round 2.
And then from the third round, I felt great. I started putting foot on the gas, and I went for it.
Yes! Du Plessis constantly throwing different speed and tempo and direction with his strikes.
After the third round, I told my coach, this is the first time I've come to a 4th round. This is amazing, and I feel great.
We have arrived at the championship rounds. Du Plessis certainly would appear to have a lot of energy. Wow! Strickland really leaking now. Look at that left eye.
He has made adjustments that has allowed him to possibly be up 3-1.
I was the aggressor in that fight. I was 100% sure I won that fight.
Well, the forecast was for a war, and that is what they got. A standing ovation in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, as Sean Strickland and Dricus du Plessis go the full 25 minutes to decide the UFC middleweight championship.
That was a lifetime of work coming together on one night. Making the history, and I always said I was going to do it.
The new middleweight champion of the world, Dricus du Plessis.
I made that promise to myself. And I made that promise to my country, to every single South African.
This is history. Zuid-Afrika, nou weer hulle wat ons weet.
And to deliver on that promise is very, very special.
That's your country right there. That's South Africa, baby. Thank you, South Africa.
After winning the UFC title, du Plessis delivered on his promise to bring the belt back to South Africa and celebrated with a nationwide tour.
Sharing that belt with the whole country, doing a belt tour, just to see that many people being invested in my career, it's a massive, massive privilege. It felt like winning the belt all over again. Cape Town was insane. Decided when we came back that this is history for our country. Everybody was in on this fight. Everybody was early morning hours, in front of the TV and going crazy. We're trying to see as many of the fans and as many supporters as we possibly can.
Telling the UFC that I am the African champion organization. That created a lot of controversy, and I can understand how the rest of the world can feel that way. But we are the only ones that know that there's only one guy that fought for a belt, that was born in Africa, that lives in Africa, that resides in Africa, that breathes the African air, and that brought a belt back home to Africa. South Africa is the greatest country in the world. Good. Let's go!
Now we need to give back and show the people what we were screaming for.
The feeling of winning the fight was obviously incredible, but coming home and seeing that airport, seeing this, seeing all the support, this beats that fight feeling any day of the week.
He's one of us that achieved the impossible, and that makes every other South African believe that the impossible is possible.
The fact that he's a champion, I think it's going to open a lot of doors for South Africans, so looking forward to what the next chapter brings.
As the first South African UFC champion, Dricus du Plessis was revered by his home country. For him and his people, there was no doubt who they had their eyes on for his first defense.
What is next for the champion? Are we going to see a belt tour that involves him defending his belt?
100%, guys. This fight needs to happen, and I would want nobody else than Israel Adesanya.
I want Adesanya. He wants Adesanya. Adesanya, you are going down.
On August 17th, the UFC's return to Perth, Western Australia will showcase the culmination of a long-standing rivalry between UFC middleweight champion Dricus du Plessis and former champion Israel Adesanya.
He's fighting August 17th in Perth. Now it's official.
Dricus du Plessis and Israel Adesanya.
Dricus du Plessis, the champion. He's making a travel down under to defend his championship.
They were supposed to fight before, and there was a lot of beef. They had that square off inside the octagon. They got face to face, and there was a lot of stuff said.
Yeah, my African brother. Yeah, my African brother.
Where there's bad blood involved, Israel Adesanya shines at his brightest.
There's a whole African rivalry.
Ahead of this monumental matchup, the South African champion will once again be preparing in his home city of Pretoria, under the guidance of the man he credits for his success.
We wrestle, clinch, 1 whistle, 2 whistles, same deal.
Not only has Monet Visser helped me evolve and polished me as a fighter, without him I wouldn't be here. He was my only MMA coach I've ever had. He always says train hard and fight easy. If you are willing to put in the work on these mats, because that's the way we do it. We go hard. And it shows in the fights. If you're going to train for that guy, you have to be a certain type of person.
So think about why you're going to get taste, all of you. Think about it. This is my assistant coach, this way. So if they up, I help them fix the problem. This is fixing the problem, not on his toes, not picking up his hands, not kicking when he needs to. So I'll fix him, yeah. Fine. Ian.
It does, it definitely does. It's a very cool mental note. Works a lot better than a sticky note, I can tell you that.
He doesn't anymore that much.
There's one thing about Monet. There's not a person on earth that can get me ready for a fight like him.
And let's go. Let's go. Come guys, let's go, let's go.
I think Israel Adesanya is an incredible fighter. I think he's probably one of the best to ever do it. I've studied him even before the UFC to see what I need to do to be the best and what I need to do to beat the best.
Stay up, no sleep, no cap, falling, never falling.
Beautiful.
All eyes on me.
For every fight, we do a specific preparation. With Easy, you guaranteed there's going to be a lot of kicks, a lot of punches, a lot of speed, very evasive, not easy to catch. One of the best fighters in the world, one of the best fighters ever to fight in the UFC. Until Dricus arrived, we haven't shown them anything yet.
And this is what makes him different. He's making adjustments, following his game plan.
And that's what they can't figure out. We've got a different game plan for every fight.
Huge right hand! Du Plessis' knockout power is extraordinary.
Every single strike that he throws with 100% power, and his wrestling has improved so much.
Oh, beautiful takedown.
Du Plessis is so big and physical.
I see Dricus beating Easy wherever we decide to. If it's stand up, in the kicking, in the clinch, in the wrestling, or on the floor. He's got no chance.
This fight for me is about me, proving that I am the world champion. I will always be known for what I've done, and that's legacy. My goal is 100% being seen as the greatest fighter to ever walk this earth.
As training commences for the challenger, Israel Adesanya has realized changes must be made for this camp to eliminate distractions and ensure his mind is focused on regaining the title.
This camp, a lot of changes. Not just for this fight, just for my lifestyle.
Step through with the right hand aggressively. When you're kicking, it's aggressive.
The main thing for me is just happiness and attaining peace, and I feel like I'm doing just that. I have a really tight circle, but I'm such a friendly guy that I kind of let people creep close to the edge of the circle sometimes or even overstep. That cut all that off just because I want a clear mind going into this camp. I'm a lot happier in myself, a lot happier with the quality of work that I'm giving, the mindset I go into the gym with and I leave the gym with.
Move around a bit, do a lot of feinting. Good.
I've done a lot of self-reflection, Like I said, ups, downs, smiles and frowns, beautiful, ugly, everything. I've gone through it all. A lot of honest reviews with myself.
Check what your upper body's doing.
And feel like I'm attaining peace.
While the new mental approach is paying dividends, the physical focus aims to tap into Adesanya's foundational abilities.
I don't think we're necessarily going to see an evolution, but we're just going to see the old Israel and some of the old tricks that we're pulling out of the bag. Some of that stuff we've put by the wayside, mainly because of the opponents we've been facing. And we need to pull some of those tricks out of the bag again and bring back some parts of his game that it's still there. It just needs to be refined and polished up and brought back into his arsenal.
When you're kicking, it's aggressive, so your right hand can't be a bullshit right hand. Step in, boom.
The number one thing is always going to be his mindset. Izzy doesn't think for a second that he's not the best fighter in the world. It's always going to be his mindset that makes him dangerous.
Striking IQ off the charts.
I'm enjoying the journey. I'm enjoying the process to get to the octagon.
So effortless and fluid.
When I get in there, I know one thing I can control is giving my absolute best and having fun.
Too easy. He's too good. Wow.
But that's the thing about his arsenal. It's so deep. He can do so many things.
Future in the UFC Hall of Fame.
I'm giving my best and I'm having fun. I'm the best in the world.
He has to go back to what made him so great.
And I plan on being the best in the world that night.
Ahead of their main event showdown at UFC 305, UFC middleweight champion Dricus du Plessis and Israel Adesanya
Out there, and I'll see you next time, yeah?
begin promotional efforts, adding further fuel to their heated rivalry.
Looking to reclaim what was once his, please welcome Israel Adesanya. And now, the champion, Dricus Still Knocks du Plessis.
Question for Israel. What's it been like to be able to sort of take some time to yourself and recharge the batteries a little bit?
This is the longest layoff of my fighting career. It's not just the fights itself, the camps, the pressures of being the king of everything. So it was good for me just to remove myself from the game. So I want to fight with freedom, and that's what I'm going to do, fight freely.
And in terms of the time off, did you do anything in particular?
Yeah, took up golf.
I'm glad you took up golf because, you know, that's a retirement sport. I can understand you start playing golf.
Hey, man, you do what you have to do in your own time.
Israel, there seems to be a bit of tension between yourself and Dricus. Can you just run through why that is?
There's always tension whenever you fight anyone. This is a fight at the end of the day. We're not playing chess, we're fighting. So there's always gonna be tension there. But then him discrediting me, Kamaru Usman, he came in the UFC, I knew who he was a little bit, but I didn't go, oh, who the f is this fake dude coming in? I just said, cool, there's another African in the UFC. That ticked me off a little bit, so that's what started this. But again, I'll finish it.
Dricus, do you just have a response?
You can be the biggest ass in the world, you can be the nicest guy in the world. I'm going out there to kill you. And I hope you're doing the same to me, because otherwise it's not going to be a good night for you. And as far as discrediting, never discredited anybody. But quite frankly, I don't really care about how it rubbed him off the wrong way. At the end of the day, I'm a fighter, I'm a warrior, and the people pay to watch that.
Look, I've been here, bought the t-shirt, done it twice. Yeah, it's not really about that. For me, it's taking on the best warriors from different lands. And what I don't have is him, his head. And that's what I'm coming for. So yeah, I'm coming for heads, and I stick with that.
Thank you, gents. Facing the front, please.
You know, he's trying to convince himself that he still wants to be here.
Let's go, guys. Facing forward, please.
And I'm just here to let him know it's okay, it's over. You know, call it a day, call it a career.
Facing forward. Come on, guys, can we get help? Yeah. No, that's good. Just facing the front.
That's the feeling we do this for, you know, getting that excitement, you know, and that's exactly what he's lacking. The fact that, you know, he's seen it all, done it all. He's lost that hunger for the game.
Thank you.
That's the one thing. The day I lose that excitement is the day I'll call it a career. And I believe me, there's a lot of excitement in this heart.
After coming face to face for the final time before they meet in the octagon, Adesanya and du Plessis return to their respective homes to make their final preparations.
1-to-1.
He doesn't want to be there. He's done what he wanted to do in the sport. And he keeps on talking about his peace. He keeps on talking about how he's set for life and all of that. But that mindset is not what you want when you get into that octagon with me. Because I represent one thing, and that's chaos. And that's the enemy of peace. And believe me, when I get into that octagon, there will be nothing even close to peace.
What motivates me now is beating people who are elite fighters, beating them, taking their name, taking their heads off.
Double jab forward, but take your time in between, yeah?
And what I'm getting now is just history, bits of the story, the fighting, the legendary clashes. That's what I want.
Bad intentions. One more. Rest.
I don't like Israel Adesanya personally, but that's irrelevant. Now, this is business. This fight for me is about me and proving that I'm the greatest fighter in the world. There's only one massive advantage, the only one needed to win this fight. And that's, I have a heart of a lion. I have a fire burning in me, where his fire is dimming, if not out. I have a fire in me that he's gonna feel come fight night.
What a moment for the entire nation of South Africa, and it all comes down to this guy tonight, Dricus du Plessis.
But Israel Adesanya is one of the greatest champions the UFC has ever seen.
And remember, just flow, have fun.
Beating Dricus is more important to me than getting the belt back. I beat him, he still keeps his belt in his house, above his fireplace, whatever.
Kill.
Doesn't make any difference to me. It's about beating Dricus, South Africa's finest. Go in there, make it look easy.
Every time somebody steps up, Izzy is more than willing to put them back in their place. Oh!
I'll show him who he is. I'll remind him who he is.
This man as a fighter is greatness personified.
He started this, I'll finish it.
On August 17th,
Dricus du Plessis!
middleweight adversaries will finally clash. As Israel Adesanya looks to settle the score and regain the title against the current champion, Dricus du Plessis. It all goes down in Perth, Western Australia at UFC 305.
I think we're all feeling the tension of this title fight.
That would be a fantastic fight with the foundation already built for the bad blood.